Now personally, I think May was a great month for VR games, so let's see how June stacks up, and obviously keep in mind we usually get some surprises throughout the month. First on today's list we have Alliance Peacefighter coming to PCVR and Steam, meaning it's also playable on flat screen on June the 4th. It's a linear, story-driven space sim in the style of 90s classics like X-Wing and Wing Commander, which was one of my favourite retro sci-fi games back in the day. As a newly qualified pilot, you'll find yourself caught up in a plot to break the fragile peace between two galactic superpowers. It will have support for HOTAS, VR controllers, gamepads, and mouse and keyboard. And I actually think this trailer looks pretty cool. On June the 6th, we have Neon Cipher coming to Quest and PCVR. It's stated as an action-packed platformer designed for smooth and engaging gameplay, and will have a mixture of first-person and third-person mechanics to solve puzzles with over 50 levels available. Now personally, I'm not quite sure what to make of this one from the trailer, but I'll be checking out the Steam and Quest reviews once it's launched. On June the 9th, we have Exer Gale, which is said to be an arcade flight simulator where you use your body to physically fly like a bird through 3D environments. You must avoid obstacles, and it seems to be all about high scores. There's also a multiplayer mode in the works, which will definitely add some extra fun to what looks like right now as an OK VR release. And it kind of reminds me of Ubisoft's Eagle Flight, which was actually really quite fun from memory, but I think it was only playable on gamepad, at least on the original PSVR. Now I feel like I've been talking about this game forever, but Zombie Army VR is finally coming on June the 12th to all VR platforms after being delayed pretty much at the last minute for some extra polish, with the promise to give players the best possible experience. Now personally, I'm always a fan of developers choosing to delay a game versus releasing a game that needs update upon release, but to say this game has had a rocky start is an understatement. If you've been part of this channel for any length of time, you'll know I went hands-on with Zombie Army at Gamescom and I came away pretty underwhelmed, but I want to stay optimistic and I'm actually looking forward to reviewing it. The Zombie Army VR is set before Zombie Army 4 for those of you who follow the series, and will be playable obviously in single player but also as co-op. The most recent trailer definitely made me think a lot of work has been done since changing hands from developers XR Games, that are most well known for Hitman 3 on Quest and Zombieland, to a new developer called Extended Realities. Now of all the games on this list, you're going to see this is probably the most hyped game out of them all, so let's wait and see if it delivers. On June the 12th we have V-Racer Hoverbike, and it's coming to Quest after releasing on Steam way back in 2018, and while I remember it being pretty cool and had a good sense of speed, it actually didn't hold my attention for very long. But it seems this is a brand new version of the game with new graphics, cross-play between PC and Quest, and has over 30 tracks with 4 different game modes including time trials and combat. But the combat mode, at least currently, is only available to play against bots. There will be online racing with up to 6 players and some customization for your racer and the bike. As someone who loves F-Zero and Wipeout, I'm hoping this one will scratch that itch. On June the 13th we have Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, and even though it was originally announced to have VR support on PSVR2, they soon removed this announcement, even though the PS Store still confirms it's coming to PSVR2 with headset rumble and sense controller feedback. Considering Help Wanted and Help Wanted 2 had VR support on all platforms, I think it's okay to assume VR support will still happen, and personally there is no better way to play a Five Nights at Freddy's games than in VR.
Thank you for being a valued member of the Fazbear team.
Mike is like a brother to me. I can't stay still doing nothing. You understand?
On June the 13th, we have OVERDARK, a Do Not Open story, which I seem to remember really enjoying when I reviewed it on PSVR2 last year. In OVERDARK, you must explore Mike Goring's family mansion and uncover the truth behind a close friend's suicide. I seem to remember it had some really brain-scratching puzzles with very nice graphics, and you have to constantly try to avoid Mike himself, who is hunting you, and you have to avoid him by not moving and avoid making any sudden gestures. I'll definitely be dropping a review for this one as soon as I get access, because I really enjoyed it, as I said previously. On June the 19th, we have the Smurfs Flower Defense, and it's coming to Quest, and I do feel a bit cringe for mentioning this one, but who am I to dictate what everyone else enjoys? But I do wonder, is Smurfs still a relevant franchise? Someone seems to think so. Anyway, the Smurfs Flower Defense is a virtual reality and mixed reality game promising a mixture of action, strategy and storytelling. It looks to be a tower defense game that sees you, the player in VR, basically shooting lots of things while building weapons and tower defenses to protect nature. The actual mixed reality implementation does look pretty cool, but I'm not sure if I would play this personally. But I do love a tower defense game, especially after playing Iron Guard last week.
Can you hear me? Listen. The tunnel behind you collapsed.
After that, we have Crave coming at some point in June to PSVR2 and Quest, and I think I must have got confused at some point between this and Tunnels VR. And Tunnels VR is a game I pretty much hated playing because it was such a low effort release. But anyway, Crave is a Splunking style game with environmental challenges including clearing your own path with a hammer, climbing walls of ice with pickaxes, and maintaining your gear to ensure their reliability. The one thing I really like about this is the ability to use chalk to mark where you've been to stop you getting lost, but outside of that, I don't really know what else to say about this game. Also at some point in June we have a game called Neolithic Dawn, and it's coming to Quest, and it calls itself the ultimate survival experience. You step into the shoes of a Neolithic hunter, Neolithic being around the Stone Age, and you must struggle to survive an unforgiving world. You discover an Ice Age civilization and must craft items using physics-based tools and weapons to hunt for wild animals and tame Ice Age creatures to help you survive the journey. Now an interesting twist is if you die, you come back as your son or daughter a generation later, and the whole game will have changed permanently and altered by time. It also features real-time day and night cycles, dynamic seasons and generational changes as you explore 5 large open maps. I gotta say, I'm pretty intrigued to see how this one shapes up. Also in June we see the comeback of Requistion VR on MetaQuest, which launched on Steam last year, and it's currently sitting with very mixed reviews, and I seem to remember it being pretty cool in multiplayer because you can make weapons pretty much out of anything you can scavenge, but I actually don't remember playing the main zombie survival mode and enjoying it. But Requistion VR seems to be going for that Left 4 Dead vibe, and I'm pretty certain we found it very underwhelming and a bit broken. Since this game needs to be played by 4 people, if you can't find anyone online, you'll be assisted by AI characters. It has a story mode alongside PvP, a survival mode and horde modes. Hopefully a full year of development might have turned things around for this one.
But remember, you don't have to face the apocalypse alone.
And to wrap up today's video, there is also a game called Warriors, which refers to itself as a cutting-edge multiplayer shooter for PCVR that blends realism and adrenaline-pumping action. The trailer does look good, but is it me, or do all of the weapons actually sound the same? Anyway, it has multiplayer obviously, and single player against bots with 7 different game modes. Now, I don't know boys, but alarm bells are ringing for me on this one, but let's wait and see. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you to anyone who leaves a like and subscribes for more VR content, and I'll see you on the next one.